Hello everyone! Welcome to the last post on editing stages. Woohoo! I'm finally getting around to it. So this one is how to use all those editing stages that I told you guys about. Now to be clear, I haven't done this specific strategy yet, but this is based off of editing my book and what I've done in the past and what worked for me. Okay? So this is not exactly going to work for you, but you can change it, I hope, and really use it to your advantage. So let's jump right into step 1, let it rest. So congratulations, you finished your manuscript, but before you move on to editing, slow down and let the manuscript and yourself take a breather. You'll be able to more accurately determine the manuscript's faults and virtues if you've put some space between yourself and it. What I do is, when I finish one book, I move on to another, because I probably have a book or two that's been waiting for me to write them. So people have recommended different times. They have recommended up to a week if you're trying to publish boom, 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 one after another. I usually let it sit for a year. My Viking book sat for around 4 years, but I know that's not ideal. I would recommend at least a month, just so that you can take a breather, distance yourself, and so you're ready to get it critiqued. Because honestly, our manuscripts feel like our babies. We don't like people tearing our babies apart, and it hurts, doesn't it? And so, let it rest. Second, look over the manuscript. We're not sending it out to beta readers yet. Now that you've taken a week, a month away from your book, you're most likely ready to start the editing process. So, before I continue, I want to mention you need to take your time. Don't rush the process like I did. It is good to have a goal and end time in mind, but don't bind yourself to it. You need to be flexible, not too flexible that you put it off, but just flexible enough that you're not rushing around and really anxious to get it done. So keep that in mind through this whole process. Now for looking over the manuscript, go ahead, read it over, read it out loud if you need to, and your goal for this is to fix small, glaring mistakes and weighing it in your mind, thinking about what you potentially will have to fix in more of the ground level stage of editing. Don't be in a hurry to change anything. Just just look at the book and determine if it is on a firm foundation, and see if it has a lot of flaws or a few flaws. Now, fix the grammar and spelling, and then you can move on to step 3, which is first readers. So this is the scariest part of the whole editing process, when you reveal it to the public eye in all its raw beauty and raw ugliness even. Other writers can be very critical, like extremely critical. There's been several times where I just ignore their advice because I say no, that does not apply to my book. But when you give your book out to beta readers, that's their job. Their job is to be super critical. They're supposed to point out mistakes that need fixing. I recommend finding 5 or more readers and let them critique the whole book before you do anything. Focus on this stage, focus on reading their manuscripts in return. If you don't know what beta readers do, beta readers are, you do this for me, I do this for you, sort of thing. Beta readers should be free. Don't fall for any that ask for money. You're supposed to read theirs in return. And that's usually a lot of work. You're probably reading like 5 or more books that are like 70K to 120K words long. So focus, just solely on reading their manuscripts and giving your best critique to them. And good questions to ask them is about editing stages 1 and 2. If you don't remember, that's about plot, character, theme, logic, research, and plot holes. Alright, once that's all done, you're ready for step 4, which is stage 1 and 2 edits. So once you get your manuscript back, read through all the critiques carefully and keep what is applicable to the story. Based on the critiques and what you feel needs to change, start your first edit. Remember, your gut feelings about your book. Not self-deprivation, not tearing yourself apart, but your real, actual gut feelings about your book is a really good indicator of what is right and wrong with it. So take that and their critiques, start your first edit. Change whatever's necessary to get your story to where it needs to be. This might take a while, but be patient because it will get there. And then step 5 is editing stage 3 and 4. So congratulations, the biggest edits are over. I find stage 1 and 2 edits so hard because they're just rooted in the story, in the characters, in the plot holes, in the research, so it's really hard to fix. But once you fix that, you can take a breather. Again, pat yourself on the back, you did it. So now you can move on to stage 3 and 4. If you don't remember, it's the walls and flooring and utilities part of editing stages. If you don't remember, you can go back and watch those, get a refresher. It deals with psychic distance, show don't tell, resist the urge to explain, actions, and dialogue. Your goal in this step is to tell the story as best as possible. Try to convey it in the best possible way to your readers to make it clear so the readers understand it, but then also, I lost my train of thought. Try to tell it in the best way possible so that they get your message, they understand the story, and they get something from it. Okay? So, I hate it when I lose my train of thought and just go, and it's gone. So, oh well. Also, one more thing. At this point, I like to get my book printed out in physical form so I can easily make edits. Since the way my brain works, I see mistakes better if it's on paper. I believe there's a few studies out there that prove this, that paper is better. That's why I write physically on paper. But get it printed out. My 380-page Viking novel took about like $40 at the UPS store. Shop around. Alright, step 6 is just like step 3. Send your book out to 5 or more readers and take a break from editing. Read their manuscripts. If you can, get the same beta readers as you did before because they can see the changes. I was blessed enough to have the same beta readers over and over and over and over and over and over and over again for my Viking book. And they're so sweet. They were two British guys in like their 40s, 50s, something like that. They were a little older, but they were so sweet. And the stuff that they wrote kind of bothered me. Like, I could not. It was just my morals and my standards. I just could not read it. It bothered me too much. And then they were like, okay, it's okay. Just don't think about it. We will read for you and give you critiques because we want to help you. They were so sweet, and I'm just so thankful for them. I feel like I'm tearing up, so. But that was a really good experience. So try to find a few beta readers that will come back over and over again for your book. They can really help you, and they can tell you if you're getting better, if you're getting worse, if there's some things that still need changed, stuff like that. So, step 7. stage 3 and 4 edits. So when you get your book back again, go through the feedback as you did in step 4 and make whatever changes you feel are necessary. At this point, I feel the most pressure to conform to other people's standards, so make sure you're only making whatever changes are applicable to your story. I think I'm going to make a future video on that, about what does applicable to your story mean? What does do what your book feels like, do what feels right for your book? I might make a video on that, so subscribe if you're not subscribed already so that you get a notice about that. Or you can go onto my website and join my free emailing list, and I will email you, and you can pick and choose whatever videos you want to watch and stay updated that way. So, stage 3 and 4 edits, it's the walls and floor, utilities, stuff like that. Alright, stage 5 edits, woohoo, we're almost done here. So, at this point, reflect on whether or not your book is where you want it to be. A writer friend of mine once said that you can tell when your book is done being edited when it stops getting better and it starts getting different. You're changing the story, you're not improving it. And so at this point, you are changing the prose part, so do not change the story itself. If anything starts changing and the story itself is changing, stop. Just stop. No more editing. You're done. Continuing, goodness, will only change the story, and you do not want that. You've done everything in your skill to improve your storytelling for this book. And now that's all that is left is editing your sentences, sentence editing, where you just have sentence structure, paragraph use, word choice, speech tags, all the pretty decorative stuff. And you can go get my read or watch my points on that if you like to. So I'm just putting this out if you want, if you need a step 9 or not. If you think it's necessary, find an editor or a copy editor. For Out of the Dark, I did neither. Since I chose publishing with Amazon, copy editing actually came with the publishing package that I chose. A lot of people recommend an editor and a copy editor, but other people are like, nah, you don't need one. So I feel like it's kind of controversy, but also that you gotta weigh your options here. I'm kind of a penniless writer, so I can't really afford getting an editor. That would break the bank for me. And so I just didn't with Out of the Dark. I went over it over and over and over and over and over again and did proofreading, and that should be enough. I wish I have had an editor for this book. Maybe I'll be able to afford it with the next book. But keep that in mind. If you do choose to hire an editor, that will be your step 9. And then you will go over their stuff just like you did with the beta readers. And then you'll polish it that way. And then with the proofreader, proofreading is just catching spelling, grammar, word choice, little mistakes like that. It polishes up your manuscript. Alright, so for the time frame, it will vary. It will vary from book to book, author to author, beta reader to beta reader, editor to editor. It will vary a lot. But I think this time frame, this whole process might take you 6 months at most, I hope. I hope it'll only take 6 months for you. Some books may be completed in just a couple months, like 3 months, while others, like Out of the Dark, may take years. It took me 3 years now from when I started editing to when I finished editing and started getting it published. It's because I had no idea what I was doing. Had no idea what I was doing. Didn't know I didn't know what I was doing. It was bad. So I hope that I'm preparing you guys for your own editing stuff. Well, I hope that was helpful for you guys. If you have any editing suggestions, please put them in the comments. I'm always looking for more editing suggestions. And any writing, brainstorming, world building, anything like that, drop it in the comments. I will most likely reply because I don't get many comments. So go ahead, leave a comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!